Everyone, Rebecca here, coming to talk to you today about fixing a messed up project. I had this really cool ceramic tile, that I did some alcohol ink on, and I really liked it. And then I was learning about alcohol ink and resin, and so I added a layer of resin, and it looked awesome. And then I thought, oh, some silver on top would be cool. So I put some drops of silver alcohol ink in it and blew it around, and all it did was make the neat part look, unfortunately, really messy. So that happens sometimes, but what I'm going to do today is show you a couple inexpensive tricks to see if I can fix this a little bit and salvage it. One, I'm not wasting the stuff I've already used, and two, I think I can make something really pretty out of this. So I'm going to go into just a few details on ways I save money on some products, and also kind of what my plan is to fix this. The first thing I'm going to do is I go to the dollar store or to Walmart and get their $1 or $2 nail polish. You can actually mix nail polish into resin pretty well, but right now I've already got a layer of resin on and I want kind of a thicker, more 3D effect, so I'm going to add lines of nail polish. And then I'm going to add, just in this spot where I tried to do the silver and where I really don't like how muddy it is, I'm going to go ahead and add some crushed glass. So kind of a geode look, but not exactly, more just embellishments, because I didn't shape this like a geode and I don't want to cover everything because I think there are some really pretty things happening underneath. So I'm using $1 and $2 nail polishes, and then also I did some of my own crushed glass. There's some great tutorials online to this. Abstract Boss has an awesome one on how to crush your own glass, and I will link that in my description below. But I used just the Walmart glass beads that you put into jars of flowers and stuff. Cooked them on the stove dry for a while until they got really hot, and then threw them in an ice bath, which really cracked them. Hit them with a hammer, and now I have these. And I thought that blue would be a really pretty color to stick through the middle. But since I'm going to pour some nail polish, I don't want to do the glass first. I want to do my nail polish lines first, and then I'll move on to the glass. So here goes. The first thing I have to figure out is how much or how little I want to cover. I really like some of these pretty lines in here, but then like in this pink, there's a lot of muddy looking stuff. So since my glass is going to go this way through this whole swoop that I kind of messed up, I'm going to make some lines going that way, but I am going to follow a few curves around and things. So we'll see what happens. This could be awesome, or it could not quite work out, and that's okay. It's worth testing just to see if you can fix your project. After I'm finished with this, if it turns out well and I decide I like it, I will add another resin coat to the top of it to make the glass not be sharp and to make everything just look really nice. But I'm not going to make that decision just yet because I want to make sure it's worth doing the resin. You know, one other thing I'm going to do real quick, because as I pour nail polish, it gets all over the place. I've got my table coated with paper, but I'm still going to just stick underneath here real quick a paper towel to catch all of these nail polish drips and mess. So I just got cups holding this upside down. Those cups will be reusable. Again, I try not to waste anything if I don't have to. So I pull this a little closer to me so it's right where you guys can see it. Okay, so what I do with this nail polish, because it's super cheap, dollar nail polish, I like the blue sparkles, is I just start to pour. But if I'm going to make a line, I actually start pouring off the edge because I don't want a bunch of individual drips to happen. I want a smooth line. So I pour off the edge until I see that it's coming out in a stream instead of one drop at a time. And then once I see that it's coming out in a stream like this, then I will create the line and let it fall off. Now some types are a lot runnier than others. This one's not super runny because it's got so many sparkles in it that it's really thick. And so that one's a little easier to manage. Some of these that are the metallic colors but don't have sparkles are really thin and runny, so you have to kind of run them quick so that they don't end up just spreading out and ruining your project. So I'm going to do a couple more of these because that was a really pretty color. Keeping in mind that my glass is right here, Sometimes I'm going to come into the middle and just let it fall, but that's going to be covered up. But I'm just trying to get some extra sparkles and color. So again, I'm letting it start to come out over the edge so I don't have a splat or anything, and I'm waiting till it's coming out. There we go. And kind of a line. All right, so maybe I will come this way around some of these as well. If this turns out, it's going to be really neat also to see once it's got the layer of resin on it, because then I'll have all these different layers of really pretty colors. All right, I'm just going to move these out of the way as I've used them so I don't accidentally use them again. The next color I'm using is another sparkle, and it is a really pretty pink, but it's got some gold in it. And I really wanted to incorporate pink because I had this pink color, but a lot of this is where the silver got in there and got it really muddy looking. But I want the piece to still have pink in it. So what I'm going to do is, this one I'm actually going to start in the middle because it will be covered by the glass. But I'm going to fill in some pink around where the other pink already is, just to add some color. Now again, this is one of the metallics, so see how already it's spreading out a little more than the sparkles did. This one has some sparkle to it. I actually love this one. I got this at Walmart and I've bought it like 3 times now because it's great if you're doing any pink colored pours. So I'm just going to keep going in the same manner. I'm starting with a gold metallic now. Besides the silver not quite working on here, once I did the silver, I realized that I wished I had done gold with this one instead of silver, just because I think it would be pretty. So now that I'm redoing it, I kind of have that chance to fix that a little. Now again, I don't want to cover some of this stuff because I feel like this is beautiful, but in here it gets a little muddy. So I'm going to just run a line, kind of going right through where the pink and the silver got muddied. And I always wait for, there we go. I always wait for it to drip first so that I have a steady stream coming out. I might do that again just to add a little more gold. I might add a little gold right into the middle of this pink one that I did. I don't want to add too much because I like what's underneath, and once I do another layer of resin, I think it's going to be really pretty to have all those multiple layers, so I don't want to cover it too much, but I also don't want it to look like it does now because it doesn't look great. So, okay. So I'm just going to keep moving on color by color. I'm now using, just like this golden pink, I'm using another metallic, and it's turquoise this time. And I'm just keeping an eye on where I'm going here. I'd like to add it, I think, on the inside of this space because there's some silver in there, and I'd like it to be close to the other blue, but again, I don't want to cover up too much. I don't think I'm going to have to cover up too much because I think once we add the crushed glass and everything, it's going to be a really nice look. So just covering what I can tell is the muddiest parts, and then we'll add glass over some of it. This is an awesome alternative to starting right away with doing another layer of resin because this nail polish is crazy cheap and it's easy to use, and it's just so much better than wasting resin and mixing and everything when I can just toss it on here already mixed. The one thing with resin that you want to watch, I love mixing nail polish in my resin, and you can do that, but if you're not mixing it in and you're pouring it on top, if you have resin that is still wet, you're going to make a huge mess because nail polish does not weigh as much as resin. And so the nail polish will spread out all over your piece and it'll float to the top and it'll just make like a cloud on top of your resin. So if you're going to add things like this, you really have to make sure you do it after the resin is already dry. Otherwise, you just ruin your piece. Okay, I'm adding now, to go with my purple, some purple sparkles, but they've got like an iridescence to them, so they've got a little bit of blue too, so I think those will look nice. I'm going to try to actually put them right against the blue sparkles I did, because I think they'll look nice together. Now this one's pouring a little quicker, so I just have to move a little faster than I did with the other one. There's one. I've got a drip. Now the one thing with nail polish is that it drips a lot. which isn't a huge deal because you're putting it all over, but I like to try to keep them clean so that they're easy to pour the next time, and they don't have like messy edges where it makes it pour out unevenly. All right, sorry, I have to stop talking when I concentrate. See, I think this is going to add some pretty details. Now, if you don't love sparkles, you don't have to do as much sparkle. You can do a lot more with just the metallic colors or even regular colors. But I think it just adds a nice look. Now already I've got most of the part covered that I don't like other than the middle, but the middle is going to have the glass. And all this middle part in here where it's pooling, I'm going to cover with glass as well, so I don't have to really worry about how it looks in the middle. So part of this is just making the decision on where to put your colors. Again, I don't want to ruin any of the pretty stuff I have, but at the same time, oopsie, I didn't wait quite long enough to get that going. At the same time, I want to make enough that I don't have the not so pretty things showing. All right, so I have this last one. This one was a nail polish that I had that was a lot more expensive and nicer, and I'd used it years ago on myself and still had it, and it's just packed with glitter. But I'm starting to run out and it's not running really well, so I have this out in case I find a space where I want to actually draw with the nail polish brush some details in. But I think for now we're in pretty good shape. I don't really want to cover this stuff even though there's nothing as 3D in that section. I don't want to do that yet because I want to get my glass down and see how it's all looking. I'm going to grab a glove now, because the one thing you have to watch with making your own glass is that it is extremely sharp. So I have that, and I'm also going to grab some glue. If you're watching this and you have advice on glue, I would love to hear it because I'm still kind of trying to figure out my glue situation. I'm using E6000 right now because I know it sticks well. And I'm just going to kind of spread it and then sprinkle on some of the glass. But E6000 is pretty thick, and so if anyone has any other ideas on that, I would love to hear it. All right, so on a bigger piece, I might just dump a lot of my crushed glass on, but this is small enough. I don't want to get it everywhere, and since I already have the nail polish down, I don't want to totally accidentally cover the nail polish. So I'm going to just do a little bit at a time. All right, so a little more glue. And actually, by the time I get to this nail polish up here, it might hold part of my glass on for me. Ultimately, if this looks good, I'll resin over the top of it, obviously, so it's not it doesn't have to stay perfectly right now. I just want to keep things in place because I love having my glass already in place when I do resin, because I don't like how the resin can move it around. And resin you can't control, but I like being in control of it as much as possible. So, although it cannot totally be controlled, I want some say in it. And I just like knowing that I have the control of the glass not moving once I've done the resin. So I'm just putting this right on top of the nail polish. And I think what I'm going to do now that I'm looking at this, I'm not sure I love the idea of holding this down with E6000 because it's really thick. I think I'm going to put it where I want it and then pour some clear nail polish, just enough to kind of let it soak underneath to make sure I'm getting it where I want it. So I'm just going to put the glass down and then I'll coat it with the glue or nail polish, whatever I decide to use. I also don't want this to be a completely like straight line. I want it to be a little organic, so I'm going to move things around a little bit as I do this. So as I'm working, just a couple things to note. I spent 59 cents on the tile. I got my resin using a sale that was being promoted on one of the other artists' pages. I think it was Artist Till Death. I'll link to them. They're amazing. But I took advantage of a sale they were having with Stonecoat Countertops for the resin. And so I got a discount on the resin that I purchased. And then after that, I bought all of my ink, my alcohol ink, at Hobby Lobby when they were having a 40% off sale on it. So just some money saving tips to kind of help you out. And then like I said, also obviously the crushed glass is from Walmart, and I'm using such a tiny amount of it that I don't know, it's got to be under $1 amount that I'm investing total in terms of glass. And also, I'm trying to think of what else I used. Obviously, the $1 nail polish. And I can't think if there's anything else. So I'm going to go this way first. This is all just kind of, I had the idea to go straight through, but I don't want it to go too straight. So I'm going this way first. And then I'm going to add some more at the bottom down here, just so it doesn't look like a line. I want to let it move around a little. And like I said, what I'll do is I'm not sure if I'll record it, but I'll go grab my clear nail polish and just pour a layer of it over the glass. Again, just the $1 nail polish. It doesn't cost me too much, and it's a good way to stick it just enough that the resin will take hold. There are going to be a couple spots along the edge here that these aren't going to stay, and that's okay. I will wait till I have the resin for those. So once the resin's getting a little tacky, I'll stick stuff down onto my corners. Just going to follow this shape a little here. And we'll see. So it can still turn out to be a kind of cool, funky piece of art, even though it's not what my original plan was. I'm not wasting what I did because there are parts of it that I really like. And I always try to give you guys tips in terms of saving money, but there's also the waste of like, man, sometimes I love what I created, and even though I don't love every bit of it, there are parts of it that I want to save because I think they're really nice. So this is a nice way to go back in and salvage things, so I'm not too big. So I'm not wasting all the pretty things that happened. So what else is nice when you make your own glass is I don't feel bad that I'm using so much for such a tiny piece. Typically, if I've gone and bought some of the nicer glass, I'm trying to conserve it as much as possible because it's so expensive. And so to do just a little piece like this would be like, oh, I'm not going to waste my money on that. But I don't feel like I'm wasting anything, and I can just kind of do some cool shapes and ideas and let it go where it wants. All right, so I like this. I think the shape of this is pretty cool. And I'll stand up in a second and look. I just don't want to be in your way of the camera. I might do just a little bit around here to have a little more. We'll match some of the blue to the blue ink I had there. That's pretty. And then maybe I've got a cool kind of funky little art piece here. All right. And again, it's almost a little permission to do whatever you want because I'm not trying to make an actual geode. I have lots of plans that I do when I make actual geodes in terms of the direction I want the paint to go in and all kinds of things. And this is kind of fun because I'm really just embellishing. I'm not doing an actual plan for any specific thing that I want it to look like. So that's where I'm at right now. I will stop now, get this stuck down, and then come back to you guys in a little while if I think it looks good, and we will do the rest of it with resin on top. And I'm going to put some sparkles in here with the glitter as well, or with the glass as well. So stay tuned, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm back. I am currently mixing up some resin to put on top of my painting. And obviously you'll see from the cut of the film that I changed things a little bit after I stopped recording. All I did was I added a little more glass even. And then I got some really cool gold mica flakes from Stonecoat Countertops when I purchased my resin. I'm using Quick Coat Stonecoat resin right now, so I've got about a 15-minute working time now that I'm mixing them together. But I just sprinkled the mica flakes in. Again, I wasn't doing a straight geode pour, so I actually went a little crazier than I usually do. I get nervous on my geode pours drawing lines and adding flakes and different things like that. And since it's not a straight pour, it's actually kind of fun because I get to do things that I typically get a little nervous to do. So you'll also see that I used my acrylic paint markers and colored some lines in. Kind of like geode lines, but I went a little crazier with those too, and the shapes and everything. I just wanted to give it as much depth as possible. So that is what you are seeing right now. Other than that, I don't think I did anything. Added tiny more glass. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm just finishing mixing up the Stonecoat resin. You got to work quick on this because you have 15 minutes, and I like doing it for top coats for a couple reasons. I like the quick working time because I'm impatient and I like to see my product finished. But also, if the working time is shorter and the dry time is a lot faster, I have less chance of accidentally getting like dust or anything like that into my resin as it's setting, and I get a better flat finish. So I am going to start coating this, and I'm starting with using my popsicle stick on top of all the glass because I really want to make sure that all the glass is coated and I don't have any sharp bits of glass sticking up. So that is the way I'm going to start this. And then from there, I will go over the rest of the part that's all flat. Now I, just again, to not waste products and to not overspend on things, I've poured quite a bit of resin. I wasn't sure how much this would take because I added a lot of glass. So what I do is I have standing in the sidelines other projects that I'm planning to put resin on. So in this case, I'm not showing you right now because my hands are full, but my kids and I did some just little resin molds that we're turning into magnets with alcohol ink, and we used white to make the alcohol ink soak in so that they have a 3D effect. And the mold I used is not a mold that shows everything clear, so they need a top coat of resin. So I have those standing by so that when there's resin left over, I'm not going to waste it. And I also did a glass mosaic piece like over a year ago that I just never happened to part with. And now that I've been doing more with resin, I would really like to coat it in a layer of resin so that it's got an extra shine to it. It's made to look like water, and it looks like I'll probably have enough to do that even, so you might end up seeing that one on camera. But anyway, I just make sure that I have other things ready so that I never end up with resin just sitting that I didn't use, because what a waste. Resin is amazing stuff, but I don't want to spend the extra money on it if I don't have to. So, all right, now I'm going to just pour a little bit here all around. I don't need a ton, and so I'm going to smooth it out with my popsicle stick, and also make sure to hit it with the heat. In this case, I'm using a blowtorch so that I can pop bubbles. And I don't have a lot of working time, and the more I let this sit, the more it's going to get hot on me and not work. So I'm actually going to pull my mosaic to the side here, and I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest into it. And then we can look at it in a minute, but I got to get it flat, and I got to get it not in this cup, because this cup's going to heat up. So let me do that real quick. Here's a very quick shot of my mosaic. I'm going to put it to the side and pour a bunch of resin in it, and then we'll have enough time to work on both, but it just can't stay in the cup or I'll be in big trouble. Okay, coming back over here. Sorry, had to get that out of my cup where I was going to be in trouble. I'll show you that in a minute, but let me get all the resin coating all the surfaces on here real quick. Gosh, this is going to be really pretty. I'm really happy with it. Just moving it all around so it gets to everywhere it needs to be. Like I said, if I have too much, I got a lot on this stick. I'm going to start moving it over to my other project and dripping it around, and I'll show you that in a second. I never want to waste my resin, especially such a high quality resin like Stonecoat Countertops resin. Theirs is amazing. All right. Make sure I've got all my edges covered here. Everything's looking nice and even. Gotta watch sometimes because it's so clear that sometimes I don't notice if I'm missing a spot. So gotta not miss a spot. Kind of touching all the edges because I want it to run over the edges a little. All right. I think I've got it. I'm gonna rub some of my resin over here into a few other things. I'll show you what those are. I just made these little magnets that look really cool now that their tops are getting all opened up with the clear resin. That's all I'm doing. And my kids made a few too, so these are my sons. He'll be excited to see them looking fancy. All right. So, pretty cool. So we will let that be where it is. I'm going to real quick hit this with the heat gun, and then I'm going to switch out and show you my other mosaic that's sitting over here. All right. Again, if you're new to this, the heat gun gets rid of all those little bubbles in there, so I don't have any leftover bubbles that ruin the look of the flat, shiny glass effect of my resin. All right. Ooh, that looks beautiful. Okay, so very quickly, I'll show you this again, what I just did over here. This is the other picture I made. It might be too big for this space, but I'll give you a snapshot of that when it's totally finished too. But I got to tip some more resin in it real quick, and then get it hit with the gun as well, so that I'm in good shape here. Okay, everyone, thank you for watching. I like how this has turned out. Seeing a couple spots where I want to move my resin around a little more. That's okay. That's easy to do. Because I've put enough resin on there to give myself a good coating. I'm just going to wipe some of the extra resin off the edges so I don't have big drips. Got my head in your way here. And there you have it. That's my finished product. Thank you so much again for watching. And if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel, hit like, or share my videos. Thank you. Here's just the close-up of the finished product. I'm going to zoom way in here and whoops, see if I can focus. There we go. show you some of the cool details. I tried to keep the best of the alcohol ink showing, and then added in all my other lines and colors. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Not a geo, just an abstract art piece, but it's pretty cool. And then this is what I was doing off to the side. Sorry for the lighting. I made this glass mosaic in a tray, and it was just a little sharp still, and I wanted to coat it with layer resin. So it just has a layer of resin covering it. And my kids and I did magnets the other day with alcohol ink and resin in a candy mold. And just showing you the cool results of that as well. So for me, these will be magnets. For the kids, I'm not sure what they want to do with them, but they'll think of something cute. So anyway, there it is. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.